baby, I can hold it.
Hi everyone, welcome to The Couch, the third episode. This is our semi bi-weekly whatever video blog for Mosaic and the APID Task Force here at SJSU, where we hang around the virtual couch and just chat about what's going on and where our thoughts are. My name is Chris. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm the director of Mosaic, and I will pass off to Parl to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Carl. I also work with APID. Or wait, I'm the only one that works with and I pass it on to Kenny.
Hi, my name is Kenny, or use they, them pronouns. I am a cultural programmer at Mosaic Cross-Cultural Center, baby. And now I'm going to hand it over to Eric.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erica. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm the graphic designer here at Mosaic. And I'll pass it off to Jazz.
Hey everyone, I'm Jazz. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the social media and liaison for Mosaic. And hand it over to Sharon.
Hey everyone, I'm Sharon Singh. I'm the program coordinator for Mosaic Cross Cultural Center, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I think we're just gonna get into it. What's everyone thinking?
I didn't watch the basketball game, but congratulations, Lakers. Yay!
I did watch the basketball game, and congratulations, Lakers, for winning the NBA championship. Kudos to LeBron, kudos to AD. And they survived. They survived the bubble with no COVID outbreak.
No, the NFL had one, right?
The NFL has had many COVID outbreaks because they didn't form a bubble. They're just like still playing from their home arenas. So like everyone's still traveling and stuff. It's not what you should be doing if you don't want COVID.
Yeah, people on Twitter were saying how the NBA handled COVID better than our own government.
Yeah.
With the bubble, so.
Yeah, the NBA were diligent about COVID. They made everyone go to the same geographic location, which was Disney World. They made everyone stay in Disney World. They could not leave. I mean, you could leave, but then you would have to go through a 14-day quarantine. They did COVID tests every day. They made people wear health monitors. They said that people couldn't have visitors. They basically they created like a biodome isolated society for basketball, and it worked. I mean,
wait, everyone, all the basketball players stayed at Disney World?
Yeah. So they took over 3 hotels in Disney World, and they played all their games at Disney World. It wasn't every single team. I think there were only I don't remember the number. It was like 12 teams or something went into the bubble. But yeah, and then all the trainers and coaches and stuff too.
I would love to stay in that bubble.
Yeah.
I just want to get away from everybody.
Yeah, actually, what was super interesting was the social media that was in the bubble, because like all the NBA players like had social media, so like they were like posting like what they were doing in the bubble and stuff. It was super interesting.
Wait, so they had access to the parks? Like they had access to Disney
Yeah,
World?
so Disney opened up a few things for them. I mean, this is obviously not affordable. This is because the NBA makes a ridiculous amount of money. But yeah, they had access to some park amenities, including some rides. I think they had access to like golf courses and stuff. There's like a fishing pond they had access to. And then they had all their meals cooked for them. They set up training rooms within the hotels. So they had like strength trainers and like weight rooms and stuff all inside the hotels. And then they had I think 3 or 4 practice courts open to them. So yeah, I mean it was just life in the bubble. And then what happened was the first however many teams that they had in the bubble, it was the playoffs plus I think both conferences had something like an extra 3 or 4 teams just in case they made it, because they still had to play like a few games before the end of the season. So they had all those teams in there. And then as people got eliminated, their team was sent home. And so the entire team left, right? So the team, like when an entire team was there, it was not just like all your players, right? Which is like something like 20 some odd players. But like it had all your coaches, all your trainers, like any personnel that they brought in, all that stuff. So there would be groups of like 50 to 75 people for each team, right? So as teams got eliminated, they would send home like 50 or 75 people at a time. And then so I think it was something like this by the second round of the playoffs, the teams that were left were allowed to bring their families into the bubble because there was room at that point, right? Because they had cleared out like hundreds of people at that point. So everybody was allowed to bring in like their family members, but their family members, of course, had to stay in the bubble, so they couldn't like go in and out. They basically were like, oh, you can invite your family in, but then they have to have negative COVID tests, and 2, they have to stay physically in Orlando in the bubble.
Well, so yeah, they definitely handled COVID better than our government.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was gonna say the after celebration though that the Lakers had, or like the fans had yesterday in LA, was so bad. So bad.
It was so bad. I was disgusted. How people were really upset about that.
Wait, what? What's like they were just in the streets probably?
They were in the streets, like a big crowd of people. They're like, oh, we had to show out for our team, blah, blah, blah.
Which you didn't. You didn't have to show out for the team. In fact, the team publicly said they weren't doing a public party yet. They were like, we're not doing a parade because, COVID, obviously. But
awkward.
Yeah. So you don't have to. I mean, this is a public service announcement for everyone. Like, if your team wins a championship and there's COVID, you don't have to show up for your team. Like, that's not a requirement for being a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't work that hard to not get COVID for you to get COVID.
Right. That being said, it'll be interesting to see how next season goes, because obviously, like this worked for the the last however many games they had. They had like 20 games left or something like that. The last 20 games plus the playoffs, right? So this worked for this brief period of time. For an 82 game season, this will not work.
Yeah.
Like the players already at this point were just like, this is too much. Like they missed social interactions, they missed their family, they missed going out like to do things. So they were already like, at this point, they were already like, this is already too much. So like, I have no idea how next season's gonna work with COVID.
I don't know how life is gonna work next year, like with COVID. Like, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people were just like, especially in the US, people were saying that like we just learned to adapt to COVID and not necessarily like defeat COVID. And like, I'm like, that's so true, because like I'm back home and like for some reason, like every time, how there's like a lot of like outside dining, and like there's like so many people at like Applebees, and that's like the popping spot here now for some reason. Like I'm like, y'all risking it all for Applebees, but like
I thought Applebee's was closing. Was that not a thing?
I have no idea. But like it's just wild, because I'm like, okay, like so fuck the pandemic. But like it's just, I don't know. I feel like people just learn to adapt to it, which like I feel is like a huge issue, because like it's not something that's like normal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely an entire country of like, what is the bare minimum I can get away with? What is the least I could do in order to show that like I can be out there. Also, the other thing too, I was talking to somebody else about this. Like in 2020, in the year of presidential election 2020, not wearing a mask is the new MAGA hat. Like when I go out in public and I see somebody not wear a mask in public, in my head, I'm thinking, you must be a Trump supporter. Like it's the new MAGA hat of 2020. By not wearing a mask, automatically I'm like, are you a Trump supporter?
It's either that they're like a Trump supporter or they're like those people that are like, I have to live my life. Like we can't stop for nothing. I have to live my life.
Are those not the same things?
No, I mean like there's some people that are like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that are like, I'm not gonna let this stop me, like blah blah blah. Like I'm still on my grind, whatever. There are people still going to the strip club. Like what?
I'll go to a strip club if everyone's wearing their mask. Is everyone wearing a mask?
Yeah, I'm like, what? Why are y'all at the club? First of all, what? Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, it's all happening there.
By the way, kudos to the strip clubs that like did like take out dining in order to like get people back. Like creative thinking.
It's wild.
So I mean, we're still in COVID times, clearly.
Yeah, I just think it's like weird how, cause like in the Central Valley, like I feel like the Central Valley is like such a weird time. Like it's such a weird place to be in right now because there's like, so like obviously like it's like one of the more like I guess you could say like the redder parts of the state. I mean like I think most like geographically like if you look at California like a lot of it's actually like red, especially like in the Central Valley. So like it's just kind of like Trump country, if you will. But like it's so weird. It's so weird because like you're just seeing so many people with like not wear masks, and like if you come here you're like you'll probably think it's like there's no COVID here, which like we're actually one of like the hot spots in like the state. It's so weird. And then like people just like drive around with like their Trump flags and their Confederate flags, like if it's nothing on the back of their truck, like on the boulevard. It's so weird. I feel like it's such a weird.
I know what you mean. Like I drove to Central Valley the other day, and it was just like there's a lot of farmland. So I noticed that like a lot of the signs in the farmland was like "Make America Great Again," and then the Blue Lives Matter flag. I saw that a lot in Central Valley. I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's an interesting place. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up a picture. Like recently, someone burnt down. Like so, there's like because we're the country, So like people put their political signs on like haystacks and shit. So like recently there is, hold on, I'm trying to find this picture. Where is it? Okay,
yeah, you'll see if you drive down like Highway 5 and stuff, you'll see people have like signs on tractors and stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see it. They burned down the haystack with the Trump and honestly it was so good.
So the top was before?
Yeah, the top was before. And like our like congressman or whatever, he was like, this is the future the left wants. I was like, yeah.
I mean,
wow, powerful.
Setting things on fire, I think, is pretty bipartisan. I think lots of people try to set lots of things on fire.
Yeah. It's so interesting too, because like he also posted this trailer that had his sign on it, and then he posted another like picture, like an after picture. He's like, wow, like they burnt this down, which I'm pretty sure like he burnt that down himself to like create that image. And it's like it's so sad to see because people were like, it's not even the same picture, but I don't know. It was weird. I don't know. I feel like it's such a weird electoral season too. Like I don't even like electoral politics, but it's just a weird. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's I remember like 20 years ago, right? Right, like Clinton Bush time, right? When like people would report on politics and there would be like kind of this like like logic puzzle, right? People would say like because they did this, this is what will happen, right? So if this, then this, right? So then there was a lot of talk around election season around like, okay, like you have to do this in order to do that. You have to do this in order to do this other thing. Like this is what like winning a presidential election strategy looks like, right? And there's all this like, you know, there's like a lot of logic statements, right? If like you have to go to Iowa in order to do this thing, and then you have to go to Ohio to do this other thing, and yada yada yada, right? And like for me, that all kind of made sense. Like people were able to like kind of puzzle it out. It was like, okay, you kind of have to do all this stuff, right? It kind of made sense. Now, when you watch political news, nothing makes sense. Like there's no strategy. There's no like thought behind logic or like if then statements. It's all just like well, you know, Trump did this and we'll see what happens. Like maybe people will vote for him, maybe people won't, whatever. Like it's I don't know. It's like it's so nihilistic now where it's just like, well, this happened, we'll see what happens. Like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, whatever. Like it's so weird. Like it's so hard to follow sometimes, you know.
And it's interesting, right? Because I also feel that when I'm watching the news or reading the news, and I kind of, you know, especially watching the debates, I'm just like, how I would never expect in a debate for people running for president to be like, oh, will you shut up? Right? Like to see or to hear that come out of a candidate's mouth was just like, okay, yeah, we're in a different time and space, but the fact that we've gotten to this point where like the first lie, right, the first, you know, kind of soundbite, it just kind of became a joke instead of people going like, wait, let's like go back. This is not going to fly. Let's stop it in a track. Like we didn't do that. Like we just kind of.
But that was also such a relatable moment too.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, yes.
Yeah, like I feel like everybody who watched it was like, yes, like that is how I would have reacted in that position. I also would have been like, please shut up. Like, I don't know.
I
It's
feel like the presidential elections lately have been so like, they remind me of like reality TV shows. Like it's like fake stuff, like celebrity type beef that nobody really cares about. Like I want to hear you talk about something that's important. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like nowadays it's more like what can get the most like tweets about it, or like, you know, like people like, I bet Kamala Harris, like someone said, oh, like make this type of face so people can meme it. I don't know, like marketing, like trying to get people to like see you and like relate to you. Yeah, it's super dystopian.
well,
It's kind of freaky. I don't know. I feel like it's not real.
I don't necessarily think Kamala Harris was making faces in order to be a meme.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I don't think that too, but like that kind of like what it reminds me of.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say like I think, you know,
everything's so hella performed.
yeah, but I also think that like it's gotten to a point, right, where like you have to make those faces because you're literally having to sit there and be like piecemealing, like, is this really happening to me? Like, you know, like as a person who is also very like, I make faces and I react a lot to things that people are saying. You know, I as I was watching the vice president's debate, you know, I kept thinking, oh no, they're gonna really say something about her face and her tone, the fact that she's like, you know, I'm still speaking. Like, I knew that was gonna happen, and obviously 2 hours later, all the commentary, all the the news was like about her face, about the way that she wasn't going to win, or she wasn't helping the case because of like her body language, right? And it was just like, wow, Black women cannot live. And they also can't sit there and be like, you are lying, right? Because she was clearly mouthing at the camera like, that's not true, I never said that, we're not doing that, right? Like, I think it was like, if you watch the entire thing and not just the meme of her face, I think you will really get a better understanding of like why those faces were there or made.
Yeah.
And they totally, like, they're very like relatable, because I was sitting there going like, what is he saying?
Yeah, I think that's I agree. Like, if I was in that situation too, I would be making those same faces. Like, because like, what the heck? Like, I think the thing that bothers me, like the fact that that behavior was even happening, like that just kind of trips me up. Sounds like this doesn't seem real. Like, this seems fake. Like, why are you allowing this to happen?
Right, but I think that goes
They should
back.
like mute their microphone for him or something. Like, for real.
Right, we have
I
the
can't-
technology.
Yeah, that's like,
yeah.
it's just annoying, like seeing them let it happen. I was like, really?
Yeah.
I don't like how they can just talk over each other. I feel like that's so counterproductive. Like, we're just watching two people and not really listening to them.
Right. which
Yeah,
is
like if they say,
Yeah.
oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
I was about to say, which is exactly why Trump doesn't want to have a virtual third debate, because he knows, and he's even said, like, I don't want to, that's not debating, like, you can just mute someone. And I was like, well, if you don't follow the rules, yeah, which is
Yeah.
that he doesn't clearly want to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
even Mike Pence, it was like, Mr. Vice President, your time is over. And he's like, well, I want to finish this thought. And he just went on for another
You just kept going.
50
Just kept going.
seconds, which adds up at the end of it, right? And so he ultimately got more talking time. And even for the moderator to be like, you know, Senator Harris, your time is up, and he's like, and she had to say, well, you let him talk, so I'm going to finish my thought. I'm really glad that she did say that, right? Even if it became this like meme of like, you know, of her saying that, I was like, at least she said something, right? Because in that moment, like, I think I would have also been like, this is pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they definitely need to, like, after they say whoever's next, you got 2 minutes, you need to turn off the other person's mic, because
Right.
they can do that, and I'm just
They
waiting
should.
for them to do it.
They should. I mean, you know, I've seen a lot of rhetoric around like genuineness and authenticity around these debates, and like how, you know, like you were saying, Kenny, about like a lot of these things are just like, they're not really like real thoughts, you know, like they're just saying talking points and stuff, which like totally get. I think the thing that what I'm taking away from these debates is that the genuine and authenticity-ness around the candidates is just how they treat each other. Because like obviously what they say is like rehearsed talking points, right? Like whether that has any reflection as to what they did or will do is like kind of not relevant, right? Like obviously like we have seen that people can just lie in these debates and nothing will happen, right? So like I kind of don't look for that anymore. I'm just like, oh, they said the thing, it's probably a lie, I'm gonna move on with my life. But what I've seen like from these debates is that like Trump, and none of this is a surprise. I don't want to say this is like a surprise or anything. Like Trump has always been this person. Like since 2015, Trump has been this person. So it's not like anybody who is like, oh, I didn't know Trump was like this. It's like you clearly were not paying attention last time around. But like Trump and then Mike Pence also to a large extent are people who just they ignore other people. They will steamroll people. They will just keep talking. They will like, you know, like not respond to questions. They will just say whatever the fuck they want to say themselves. And then like the thing about Kamala Harris is that like she has like a genuineness around the way that she's reacting to things, you know? And that genuineness is also tempered by the fact that she, as a woman of color, has to be super cognizant about how she comes off, right? But you can see in the debates, she has these moments where she's just like, I know what you're saying. I know what you mean. And I'm not going to address it on live TV because I need people in Ohio to vote for me, right? So then, like, those are the moments where I'm like, oh, okay, I can see the strength of character behind her, you know. And so I like the substance of what they say. It's kind of irrelevant at this point. It's like, you know, they're just gonna say stuff, whatever. But like, I don't know. I really like the way Kamala Harris like carries herself in the debates, you know, because I feel like she has a lot of like strength and a lot of presence in terms of like who she is in these debates.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was even a time where the moderator called her Kamala, and then was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Harris," and she's like, "It's okay. I am like that is who I am. That is my name. You know, like you can call me that, right?" Like to have her, even if she was joking, right, to say that, I think there was like, it made me laugh in that moment of like, that's funny. Okay, on to the shit show. But yeah, you know, I think there's been articles about this, right? I've had conversations with folks in my community. Come January, I rather be fighting, right, or continuing the fight with Biden and Harris in office than another 4 years of Trump and Pence, right? So that's, you know, it just because, you know, it is Biden or Harris in office as elected officials, please. That doesn't mean that our work will stop either, right?
Mhm.
So if you haven't registered to vote, there's still time for everyone to register. You know, obviously mail-in is a little late, but you could definitely go in person. Make a plan to go early. Yeah, you can go to vote.org.
Register.
Register, please. Yeah, and then like for folks who can't vote, right, because of access or because legally you can't, you know, there's other ways for you to contribute, right? Make your voice be heard. Everyone has a platform to some degree in your community. Literally, if you have to stand in someone's face and be like, I need you to vote because I can't, like we need those stories to be visible as much as the messaging of like go vote, right? Because I know I have people in my life who can't vote, and so I know that the weight of my vote means something more than just my own. And so yeah, like it's really scary time to listen to people in my life who can't vote, who really want to be out there, who are writing letters, who have been signing petitions, but on November 3rd, they know that they can't really actively check a box, right? And they're having those conversations. So please, like, if you can vote and you're choosing not to, like, please really, really think about that. That's my little soapbox.
Props to Kamala for keeping her composure when that fly landed on Pence, because I lost it after that.
Wait, so did she know? Did she say that she knew that the fly was there?
I don't think she's talked about it.
I don't know. But I know Joe Biden used it as like part of his
That was immediate.
campaign.
Like,
Yeah, that was hella
immediately.
fast.
That was
His
so
team was
fast.
on that.
And apparently a fly landed on Amy Barrett today during the confirmation hearing. I guess a fly landed on her too. And they're saying that it's either a conspiracy or it's the same because it's the same fly or
The
what's
fly's
going
doing
on.
work. So, what else has been going on with everyone?
I saw on Twitter that there's gonna be like a new like Cleopatra movie, and that they're casting a colonizer for the role.
Is it Scarlett Johansson?
No, it's Gail or
Gal
Gal.
Gadot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah. Twitter was very upset, and I was like, yeah, it is. Yeah, I saw that.
They got close. Thinking geography. I mean, she's Israeli, which is close to Egypt. That's something a lot closer than they've gone for a lot of Asian roles. noted Asian actress Emma Stone.
Wait, she's not, or she is? Wait, what?
She's
Emma
not.
Stone?
She's played Asian people in films
Oh,
before.
I forgot about that. But yeah, I can't believe in 2020 they're casting white women for a Black historical figure. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's wild.
Yeah, honestly, I was like, I mean, I'm just like, what can you really expect from like Hollywood? But I was just like, really, like, there's been so many like historical, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
things that, like, Cleopatra was like not a white woman.
Mm. Yeah, representation still continues to be an issue.
I mean, I think it's also like, do we really need another Cleopatra movie? Like, I'm just like, are we really that out of stories and characters and like, I'm tired of the remakes. We just don't need it. It's okay. Let us do some writing. Let us act. We got you.
Take a break. You're tired.
I mean, I do miss smaller films. Like back in the day, there used to be a lot of smaller films that were like fine. They were just fine. It was great. There were just all these films that you could watch that was just like, oh, that's a good use of my like 2 hours of my life. That's fine, you know. But now everything has to be like a blockbuster.
Mm-hmm. Like all those random animated movies, like Over the Hedge or Flushed Away, or I don't know,
Road to El
like
Dorado.
Yeah, just like little movies.
I saw that recently. That was great.
Did y'all ever see Barnyard with the cows?
Yup.
I remember when what is it, like the dad cow? He was singing his song before the wolves ate him. And I remember he said hell, and I was like, oh my God, that's like a bad word. Like,
Otis is trans, the first trans cow ever.
Otis.
Yes, congratulations. I love that for him.
Weren't there
That's all representation.
I mean, this is not related to what you're talking about, but weren't there like 10 Land Before Time movies? That franchise got out of control.
And probably there's also like a ton of like, is that the dinosaur one?
Yeah, Land Before Time is the dinosaur.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking about. Yeah.
There are like 9 or 10 of those. There are like 6 Ice Ages or something like that. Like
yeah.
that franchise got out of control too.
I mean, Fast and the Furious.
No. Every Fast and Furious. Every Fast and Furious is great.
No.
They all deserve a place. They all should have been made. We need more. We deserve more. We deserve at least 3 more Fast and Furious. What?
They're officially going to space?
That's a rumor that the next one they're going to go to space. I mean, where else are they going to go? They've been on roads. They've been on water. They've jumped buildings. I mean, space is the next logical choice.
What about the mountains?
The mountains.
The woods.
Fast and Furious goes camping. That'd be awesome. It's just like RVs. They're like racing RVs.
It's like Twilight, and they're all just running.
There's a new Twilight. There's a new Twilight book. Did you see that?
I hope they make it into a movie soon, but I don't know if we're gonna get that.
It's apparently a retelling of the first book, but from Edward's perspective.
Do we need that? Do we need that?
Yes.
Yes, I want to know if he thought that she smelled bad. I need to know.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know about the new Twilights.
Oh no.
Twilight was a very iconic thing for our generation. I think we needed it, and we still need it. I think ever since they made the last Twilight movie, things have not been the same in the book.
Okay, then I guess this is the crew to ask. Are you all team Edward or Jacob?
I don't think anybody's on Team Jacob. That stopped being a thing after the first movie.
Well, we were talking about the first movie, right? And they're gonna be.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
okay.
that's where I'm coming from.
I see.
Team Alice.
Team Alice.
That's what I like to see. Yeah, Team Alice. She did not deserve any of them, and Jacob was weird. So
Yeah, like Jacob, like I remember when the first Twilight came out, and like Team Edward, Team Jacob was definitely a thing, and then like they were just like, nope, don't need that anymore. It's like dropping Jacob, like he's not a real suitor. Like
I just
yeah,
also
he
thought it.
kept on
Oh, sorry.
pursuing her. He kept on pursuing her, even though she said no. Like, leave her alone.
It was also weird that like at the end. I mean, spoiler if you haven't seen all the Twilight movies, but like who hasn't? But like at the end where Jacob was like, "Oh, like I'm gonna wait for your daughter to grow up to date her." I was like, "Huh?"
yeah, that's creepy.
That's some,
Creepy.
like grooming shit right there. It's not okay. It's
Come
not
on,
okay.
Stephanie Meyer.
Yeah. It's eventually, I feel like, going to end up being like, you know how we don't know who wrote all the Harry Potter books, right? Like, it's going to end up being like, we don't know who wrote the Twilight books. They just exist.
Wait, what do you mean?
Wait,
don't know
what?
who wrote the
We
Harry
we
Potter
do know
books?
who wrote the Harry Potter books.
No, like isn't that a thing?
yeah.
Like,
So
go
there's
ahead.
something on Twitter where people are like, you know, we're just not going to acknowledge who wrote
Oh, I see.
Harry Potter because of
Got it. Okay.
You know
I was
who.
like, we do know who wrote them though. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I thought you meant like those things where they say like they have a secret writer writing all the books and they have like a face. Like J.K. Rowling isn't really the writer; it's just a little story, a little face.
I heard about that.
No,
I think that's too
no.
far. I feel like
Yeah.
I definitely think J.K. Rowling wrote them. She's just also now a very problematic person.
Yeah, and people like Harry Potter has been so many people's childhood, right? And to see and that connection, and all of a sudden to have the writer be so problematic, you're just gonna be like, you know what? We're not gonna. She doesn't exist, right? These books were just written magically. It's just how it happened.
Yeah, because Harry Potter is no longer hers. Okay, it's
It's
Right.
the communities. We reappropriated it.
Mhm.
We feeling that.
This is off topic, but
There is no topic.
But Sharon, you mentioned dinosaurs earlier, and I just wanted to plug in one of my most like recent favorite dinosaur movies. I don't know if y'all have seen The Good Dinosaur.
No.
I
think
never
it's
saw The Good Dinosaur.
Is that
It's
on
so
Disney Plus?
good. It made me cry.
It's on Disney Plus. I'm watching it.
I think so, either that or Netflix, but no, I think it's Netflix.
Okay, I'm about to watch it. Last weekend I watched Hocus Pocus because it's spooky season. So
Let me know if you cry. I cried.
okay.
I'll
Okay.
probably cry then, because
Yeah.
that's what I hear from everyone who's watched it. So
Oh, I don't know if I want to watch it. I watched Hocus Pocus and then I watched all the Narnia movies last weekend.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch all the Narnia movies. I've only watched like 2 of them, I think.
Yeah.
I watched
The
Judy.
Jesus movie. Yes,
what?
Amen.
Did you say
It's like-
Jesus movies?
Yeah, because the writer is Christian, so they like the story is
Oh,
like
okay.
connected to Jesus.
Wait,
mean C.S.
which
Lewis?
movie?
Narnia.
The first one, I think.
It's about
The
Jesus.
first one.
I mean,
Yeah,
Aslan's clearly Jesus. Like,
I was
Yeah.
like, wait, the Passion of Christ?
Jesus.
I'm not
It's
Google.
like symbolic, metaphoric.
did you? Aslan's clearly a stand-in for God and Jesus. Did you all not? He dies and gets resurrected in that book. Like, do you not remember that? He speaks and like people like die. Like he has the power of the word of God.
The
This is a
children
thing.
follow him.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis was
Okay,
a
first
Christian.
of all, raised in Hinduism, so you know, I went to Catholic school, but I'm not Catholic, so I did not have to pay attention
Yeah,
during that.
Narnia has nothing to do with Hinduism.
Yeah, so did not catch on to that. Wow, my mind is blown.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought he was a lion.
No, I was
He is.
In my
clearly
head, I
God.
was like, yeah, King of the Jungle, right? Like, I was going back to
Clearly
like
God.
Lion King shit when I was watching, right? Like, I was like, oh, he's like Mufasa.
Yeah, he's a lion, but like he's Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They sacrifice him, kill him. He sacrifices himself. He willingly sacrificed himself to save Edward. They kill him, and he's resurrected. He's
First of
clearly
all, it's
Jesus.
Edmund.
Oh, I'm sorry, Edmund, not Edward. Edmund. Sorry, Twilight. Too much
It's a
Twilight.
Twilight
Too much
crossover.
Twilight.
Wow.
Edmund was a little twerp too.
Wait, then like
Sold out his family for Turkish delights. What the
Turkish
fuck?
delights.
Fuck.
who's the
I
hell
don't
All
even know
over his
what those
face.
are. What the hell is a Turkish delight?
They're like candies.
It just looks like way too sweet. You know how when you look at something, you're like, oh, you're gonna hurt my teeth. I don't want you.
Is that the butterscotch or something?
No, it's
know.
like I think it's like a gummy candy. I don't know. It's
But it's
not.
like hella powdery on the outside.
Yeah,
He
it
had
has like a
all
lot of
over his
powdered
face.
sugar. Yeah. But it's
Oh,
definitely what
the-
he sold his family out for.
Yeah.
He's like, I get all the Turkish delights I want. I'm going with you, Ice Queen. Like,
I
thought
remember
that was
watching
so
them
good in
kid,
the
and I thought that was so
It
good. Yeah.
did.
But it's so
Kinda did.
bad.
It
This is
looked
how I
bomb.
know I'm an adult. I looked at it and was like, ooh, that looks too sweet for me.
Speaking of books made into movies, did y'all ever read A Series of Unfortunate Events?
Yes.
I only read the first one. I was too old.
Same.
I
think
finished the
only-
series.
I was not a reading kid. I saw the movies. I did not read. I still do not read.
Says the college student.
Does that make class hard, Kenny?
I'll read what I have to, but I'm not gonna like sit down and read a book that's supposed to be turned into a movie. And the books are long.
You got shit to do. They were not long, actually. They were not long.
I tried reading Harry Potter. I was like, dang, this is taking forever because like I had already watched the movie. I was like,
I
so
feel
when
that.
is Hogwarts happening?
That's fine. The Harry Potter ones got long. The series of unfortunate events were not long.
Wasn't there only like 3 with Jim Carrey? For series of
Wasn't there only
Unfortunate
one with Jim
Events? For the
Carrey?
movies?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just one.
Yeah,
But there
they
were
have
only
one
like
with
3
Jim
of the
Carrey.
actual stories
Yeah.
condensed into one.
I think
So it was
Netflix
kinda
made
weird.
into.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah,
with
Netflix did a
Jim
series.
Carrey.
Yeah, I've seen the series.
Yeah, I liked the first season with Neil Patrick Harris on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I like put it towards my TV, like it would tell me the answer.
You know, that thing right there.
Over there.
Yeah, the
Wait,
Jim Carrey
Olaf?
one was definitely. I had that DVD. That was one of my go-tos.
Yeah, Cal Olaf is also Jesus. No.
No, don't.
Not
Olaf from
true.
Frozen is also Jesus.
They're all Jesus.
Speaking of being a college student, we have 2 college students who are gonna graduate
What?
in spring.
Wow. Wow.
Just like Jesus.
This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Oh, are you all not? Am I mistaken?
No, I applied.
Oh, okay.
I think I applied. I just put the button that said apply to graduate, and then I thought it was gonna be a long process, but then it said okay, you're good, and I was like okay.
Yo, mine
Just taking me a
was
page, I was
way
like, got you.
different. Yo,
Wait.
mine was like paper. It's because like for different majors, like you have to like you can either have like online or paper. And like
Wait,
when I
did you
looked at
say
mine, it was
paper?
Paper, but I ended up just doing it online anyway. It was
Okay.
just like I had
I
to
was like, it's
gather all these
COVID times.
forms.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was
No, but
weird.
some people do have to turn in like a paper application to apply to graduate.
It is COVID.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is 2020.
Or maybe they
Get
make them
your
print it
shit
out and then scan
together.
it, which is like kind of the same thing as online.
Wait,
or,
was I
like,
not
PDF,
supposed
so-
to hit the button then?
No, I'm pretty sure if your major, for your major, it probably gave you that option and like directed you to do that. Because I know for some people, it's just like a couple buttons that you have to press.
Damn, I'm gonna have to look this up after. Oh my god.
But yeah, for my department, it was like all these forms. And since I added a minor too, there was more paperwork. But yeah, I just got that all sorted out.
Yay!
It's wild.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real.
It is
I was about to say.
2020. I don't understand why we need a form. I'm sorry. Anyway.
I'm about to, we might have folks watching who are early on in their higher ed careers. And so, what advice would you all give as you're entering your your last semester? I was like, this semester's almost over.
Advice?
Yeah,
About college?
anything.
About getting to the end.
Yeah, to getting to the end.
Don't read. It's not. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I honestly
Kenny's
don't.
like, got you.
I'm on
Just watch the
right
movie.
track.
Just look it up on YouTube.
No, honestly though, like I'm not I'm nor ashamed nor proud that like I haven't read as much stuff like required readings. Like in my whole I remember like my first year I was like, okay, I have to read everything and like I have to like I was really on top of that, and then like I slowly just started like not reading. And then but like obviously like I felt like sometimes I would feel left out in class because I'm like, damn, I haven't done it.
So I went through that when I was undergrad too. So I was a lit major, which made it even worse because there was hella shit that I had to read. I tell people I probably got away with getting out of college only doing about 50% of the reading that I had to do at the end of it. Like I think I read like every other book I was supposed to read. And honestly, like I don't know if it was the classes I had, the teachers I had, or what, but like I got so much more out of just going to lecture and taking notes. Like, because they do all the work for you. They're just like, the theme of this book is post-colonialism. Here's a quote. And I'm just like, oh, post-colonialism. Here's a quote. And so, like, when I had to write a paper, I was just like, this paper is about post-colonialism. Here's a quote. And teachers are like, great, you did great. And I was like, cool. Didn't have to read that one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely more like I like engaging with with people about like a topic. And like yeah, maybe like I'll do a little skimming, like I'll like read a little bit, but like I'm not gonna read like the whole 27-page article that like they assigned, because I'm like I don't have time for that. But I mean I don't know. Sorry, that's not advice. I'm sorry. I'm just like reflecting. Don't.
It can be reflections.
Well, I
don't
think
know
it's
how to
legitimate.
take
I think it's
that.
legitimate to say that there are smarter ways to do your reading than just like reading. Like, like you can just power through. If you're an avid reader and you just read all the time anyway, go for it. Whatever, right? But if like you have a hard time like staying focused on certain things, like there are smarter ways to read. Like understand like how to read an academic article, especially where it's like they're trying to make a point and they're trying to provide evidence for your point, and you don't necessarily have to read every single sentence. Like that's a valuable tool.
Another thing I picked up that I've seen Erica done too is like, I forget what that, like you can download this extension to your browser and then turn an article into a podcast if you're an audio learner. So that also helps too, because I like listening to podcasts, and although my major isn't super like text heavy, since I'm in design, like I've tried it before, and I feel like sometimes I'm a better audio learner and like visual too. So I will also look up YouTube videos for like context.
Yeah, I can like try to link it or something somehow. I saw it on a TikTok, but it's
you can look for it on Google. Just look for anything that reads text out loud to you.
Yeah.
What I do is I push Control Command and then it says speak, and you can start it and stop it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's smart. I never had that growing up. I had to use my eyes like a sucker. I will say, as I've gotten older and less patient, I've like, I definitely have gotten more into audiobooks than I have like reading. Because then you can listen to audiobooks while doing anything, especially cooking. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, I like when I think like Jazz like was saying, I think I'm definitely more of like an audio person because like I feel like sometimes like the words just kind of like jumble up to me when I'm like reading. So like I think I'm better like just listening to something and then like I'm actually just like thinking about it.
Mhm.
So it's like it's pretty cool.
This
For me, I
podcast
need
brought to you by
like
audible.com.
No, it's not. No, don't sue us.
yeah, but for me, it's like I kind of need audio and visual because like if I listen to it, it's not gonna make sense, and if I look at it, I'm not gonna be able to pay attention. So I need both to like keep me. I need the audio to like keep me going forward with the words, and then like the audio to like kind of translate it into my understanding. It's weird.
No, it's not weird. I think, the thing about education is I don't think it's caught up completely to different like the understanding that everyone has a different learning style, and everyone's learning style isn't going to be like met just through reading, and I think like especially in college there's this like thought process of like you read the things, you do your assignments, you come to class, like that's how you get your grades. And sometimes it's like it's on the professor to provide other things, right? So like if we're gonna meet, like I'm definitely the type of person who can read. I didn't always, but I need to be able to talk about what I'm reading or else it's not going to stick in my head, right? Like I need to be able to say like, "Oh, in this reading, like this is the quote that like really like made me think about this." And I need to hear someone else talk about the reading so it sticks in my head. Like I remember people's stories. I remember people's perspectives more than just like getting talked at.
Kind of like using what you learned to like talk about it, kind of like
Yeah.
practicing.
Yeah, I think it needs to be that like practical kind of like put it into practice, like if I'm going to learn a new term, like a new vocab, I need to learn it in a sentence or else it's not going to stick.
Tell me why when I was like learning new words and like I think it was like my freshman year because I was like I feel like that was the time where when I like my freshman year like in high school. And like I remember I was starting to get into like using big words and stuff, just like looking at the dictionary and I'm like, okay, I'll probably like use this in my essay to sound like intellectual. But like then my teacher was just like, oh, like you're just trying to use big words to sound smart and you don't really know what they mean. And I feel so offended. It was
But
like
it's like why are they teaching us that like in the first? I mean, it's good to know like vocabulary, like if you're analyzing a reading, but in reality, if you're like, I know what you mean because I like had that same mindset, like, oh, I should use this so I sound like scholarly, but yeah, that
yeah.
it can also come off that way because of, I don't know. There's a certain tone to those words too. That's like, are you really gonna like?
Yeah, and then like now in I mean like now in my classes that are like current, like a lot of them are just like, no, I don't even want you to use like big words as long as like you kind of like communicate your ideas like in a good way. And I'm like, okay, that's like y'all should have told us this like way before because like I feel like a lot of students feel like pressure to sound like a certain way and like we all have like different ways of communicating and it's just like I don't even know where I'm going with that, but
No, yeah, I agree. I think I mean, I'm guilty of that too, and like I know that when I've read people's papers and stuff, like I will say that and just be like, look, like you sound smarter when you can just make your argument and you don't use like words, because like so like using big words is fine, but if you use them incorrectly, it can sound super awkward. And so when you're reading the sentence and there's just like a random big word there, you're like, oh, what was that? Like, you know?
I mean, like, I definitely like learning about words that like are able to communicate something that I'm like not sure how to put into words. Like, I usually like appreciate words in that aspect, but like whenever there's like something that's like unnecessarily like jargony, and I'm just like, okay, like, but like I remember like in the early stages of like my writing journey, I was like super pressured to sound like that, you know. But
Yeah, like sound academic for the sake of sounding academic.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's like another piece of advice. Like, you know, don't feel pressure to write all jargony.
Yeah. Like I remember in grad school, the first day of theory class, right? My professor was like, "Who's scared of writing?" And we're all like, "Yep." I was like, "Who's scared of theory?" We're all like, "Yep." And then she's like, "Why? Like, is it because you think you have to sound a certain way?" And we were all like, "Yeah, like, aren't we? We're in grad school now. This is like bigger school. Like, we're supposed to be sounding some way, right?" And she was just like, "No, just think of it as like having a conversation." And then I remember her saying like, if what you're saying in your writing is not accessible to your grandma, it's not accessible. So what's the point? What are you really writing? And who are you really writing for? Right? And I was like, okay. So I think like that's the first time I had like an academic person, right, say like it's okay to not use these big words. Like, I mean, obviously she was like, I'm still gonna teach you the big words. You still have to do the reading and like we're still gonna like talk about these things, but you don't have to write in that way, right? And obviously she didn't say it this way, but that's what I took away. And I think that was like really helpful in realizing that like, oh, first of all, like theory and our writing can just be us having a conversation about what we're trying to argue or trying to explain, especially in education, right? Knowing that I'm writing a paper on how women of color are activists and why they're activists, right? Like, if it's not accessible to undergrads who might need this, like, what's the point of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think big words definitely have purpose. Like every word has a purpose.
Right.
So like if we use it for that purpose, then sure, yeah, go for it. Like it sounds great. But if you're using it just for the sake of using it, then there's a good chance that it will sound a little bit weird
Yeah.
when you're reading it back. And like those like stand out, you know.
I just thought of Kevin from The Office. Episode where he's like, why use what? Oh no, I'm ruining it. I can't think of what he said. I was gonna say the whole sentence out. Like, why big words when small words do trick or something?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that, right? Like the whole purpose of writing and reading and having language in the first place is to communicate ideas. So like the most important thing when you write a paper is to communicate your idea. Like everything else is extra, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Erica, did you look up the video?
Hold on, I don't know if you can hear it.
I waste time, say lot word when few word do trick.
When few word do trick. Like, it's so cute and innocent. It's like, I love it.
That should be the title of this episode.
Brought to you by Audible.
No, don't sue us.
Visit us at audible.com/mosaic for 10% off your next app.
You won't find a discount.
You know, I clearly listen to too many podcasts.
All right. Well, on that note,
It is getting late. All of you found your light switches. I'm glad of that. Yeah, thanks for joining us for another episode of The Couch. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing, I guess. Yeah. I don't know what else. Continue to follow us on YouTube, on Instagram at SGS. Oh no, is it? Wait, what is it? What's our Instagram? SGSU Mosaic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At SGSU Mosaic on YouTube, youtube.com/mosaicccc. Yeah.
And follow the APIDA task force at SJSU APIDA.
Yep.
APIDA.
Yeah, we just uploaded a new video the other day. I don't know when this is going out, but we uploaded a new video the other day on Proposition 16 for the election in November. So, keep an eye out.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kenny, Jazz, Erica, for sharing your wisdom and chatting.
Mm-hmm. And thanks to Parl, who
Yes.
had to leave.
Yes. All right, y'all. Bye.
Take care.